putting this together. Not only the cart, but the TIG welder too. Well, guys, we got the cart all assembled, as you just saw, and we got the TIG machine assembled too. We picked up some rod as well while we were there getting the TIG machine and the cart and all that stuff, and we got some extra goodies like a helmet, because ours are basically going bad at this point, or they're just old. These ones are a little bit better because you can adjust it. It has a grind setting and all that good fancy stuff on it. So we still have to set up a breaker, and we have to run an outlet here and an outlet over there, so that way we're all hooked up and ready to go. And we don't have argon. You need 100% argon to weld with TIG, as far as I know. But if you guys have any tips for doing TIG, leave it down below, because I've done MIG and a little bit of stick here and there, but I've never done TIG before, so it's going to be my first time doing it. It's going to be a learning experience for both me and my pops, because he's never done it either. He's only done stick and MIG, just like me. So we're going to get into this pretty soon, and we're going to see how she does. All right, guys. So it's a few days later. As you can see, it's pretty cloudy out now and a little bit more chilly. But over the weekend, I got the 220 outlet hooked up, ran the wire over to our breaker, and we just got back from getting some argon. We're using 100% argon, and we got the other bottles refilled as well for the MIG and also for our burning rig too. Since we were out, we figured we might as well get them. So we're going to do some practicing now, and we're going to see how we do. Guys, it's like 3 days later. I was getting way too pissed trying to get this machine dialed in, and it probably didn't help that I was doing it on like 1/2-inch thick aluminum to start with. I dipped the tungsten like 2 or 3 times, and I was just getting too aggravated because I had just gotten off of work and all that. I was having trouble with the regulator, but now it's Friday, right? So we're on to a good day finally. And I'm walking the cup now just a little bit. Well, no, not walking it, but I'm just practicing without using filler rod. So these first few ones, I've only done 4 so far. For not doing it before, I like to think maybe that's okay. But we're definitely going to make a few more before we add filler, because I just want to get an idea of, you know, how much I got to move it, mess with my amperage because I'm using the foot pedal a little bit, and we'll go from there. But so far, not too bad. I'm finally getting this thing dialed in, so hopefully we're stepping in the right direction. Alright guys, so I ran my torch across a few more times without the filler rod, and we're getting there. This one was pretty solid. I started out with a decent amount of heat, and then towards the end got a little bit hot. And I tried walking the cup here a little bit. I don't really know if I'm supposed to have them marks there or not. Maybe I should dial back my heat a little bit. I'm not too sure if that's what you want to do when you're walking the cup, or if you would just do it like you normally do. But overall, for this side, we didn't do too bad. So I think I'm going to jump to the other side. I'm going to sharpen my tungsten again, because it's starting to get a spall right there on the tip of it. And then we're going to try adding some filler rod and see how we do. Well, guys, for my first time adding filler rod into this as I'm moving the cup, as you can see, it didn't go too bad. But I will say consistency is definitely key. So pay attention to that foot pedal if you guys decide to TIG weld yourselves, okay? All right, guys, so there was my first one right there. That was my second. That was my third. Third one's closest to us, and then middle one was my second. That's the first. I think my first one actually was probably the best one I did. These other ones, I had weld underneath of them, and it left a little hump in it on this side, so I had to kind of work around that a little bit by either heating it up more because it was hardened, and then it kind of melted away a little bit. And I know it's hard for you guys to see because I got you on time lapse when I'm doing it, but overall, I don't think that's too bad. I'm going to keep practicing. I'm going to hit this other side once I let this thing cool off a little bit because it only has like a 60% duty cycle. If we had the water cooled one, then I think it would be like 80% duty cycle, which is really good. But that actually keeps your torch tip at around 150 degrees. So it keeps it in that range. Right now, this thing's probably at about 400 to 500 degrees, so I'm not going to be touching that right now. But yeah, not too bad for our first time adding some rod. I'm using 4043 3/32 rod. And then I have my tungsten. I had it sharpened pretty well, but after these 3 passes, I kind of had to, I'm going to have to take it off and resharpen it there because it's getting a little bit dull on me. But not too bad for never doing it before. Alright guys, so we picked up some more flat bar. This is just 1/8 inch flat bar. Then we also picked up some angled aluminum too. This is 1/8 inch as well. So we're going to practice on both these pieces, and then we'll try it on some steel later. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just using a wire brush, and I'm just brushing it. And I learned that whenever you're brushing aluminum or your material when you're doing TIG is you want to brush one way. You don't want to brush back and forth. You want to brush one way, lift up your brush, and come back. And reason being is if when you come back and you're brushing that material this way, it'll actually pull that back, and it will basically make your material dirty, or it could get dirt stuck in these crevices that are starting to form and all that. So you don't want to do that. And then I'm going to spray it with some acetone, so that way we have a nice clean surface to TIG on. And then I'm going to set up and take these amps down a little bit because that's a little bit too high. So we'll come back to maybe about 120, 110 or so. It says it's supposed to be between 90 and 140 whenever you're doing 1/8 inch. Just adjust it accordingly based on where you need to be at. And gas, as I said before, is set to 17 for 1/8 inch aluminum. And we are on AC. Make sure you're on AC. You have it on the TIG setting. And post-flow is about 5 to 6 seconds. I have it set to 6, and then 0.4 for pre-flow. And that's pretty much it. Overload is set between -3 and 0, so I have it at about -1 there. And yeah, we'll get started with that in a second. I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Going to spray it in a second, and then we can start on this new piece. So do you guys remember a few seconds ago when I was talking about consistency? Yeah, consistency is definitely key when you were trying to TIG weld. That's the hardest thing to get down, guys, is controlling that foot pedal. You back off of it when you want to cool it off a little bit, and you add on to it when you want to increase your heat. But you don't want to go back and forth too much, otherwise your puddle is going to be inconsistent, and your weld's not going to look that good. It'll look pretty shitty, okay? Keep that in mind. Well, here's how I did on that one, guys. This was my first one right here. That was my second. And this was the one I just did. I'm learning to only let off my pedal a certain amount if I want my puddle to form smaller. And if you want it a little bit hotter, or you want your puddle a little bit wider, then you step on it more and you add more heat to it. So that's taking some getting used to, but I'm trying to just stay consistent with one of them. So you can see I started out pretty hot here, and then I got colder, and then I got hotter here, and then I finished kind of hot too. So in this middle part with the first one, it was kind of cool. So I'm trying to get a little bit more consistent with it. This last one was a little bit better. It wasn't too bad, but you can see I got cold there, and then I finished kind of hot. I might have stayed in my puddle a little bit too long. So we're learning to get a little bit better with that. That one came out pretty well. Learning to control my heat a little bit better. See, I got it, it's a little bit wider because I added more heat, but I stayed as consistent as I could. And then I came back about after 2 drops, and then I started another pass, and I tried to keep it the same width, which I think came out okay. But so far we're doing all right. So I think that's as much as I'm going to show for the aluminum, because now it's just basically practice. But we're going to try it with some steel in a little bit and see how we do there. But overall, this thing is pretty good. Well, guys, we ran out of gas, so that went pretty quick, but we got a good bit of welding done as far as practice goes. We did this whole thing, and then we actually welded over some of the other ones that we had already ran. And we had the other piece down here that I did, and then I tried to run a bead on this thicker plate, but that's like almost that's about quarter inch, so we really need like 220 amps to actually run anything on that. But this is how we ended up doing, so not too bad for just starting out, and we're gonna get back to it once we get some more gas as well. But overall, we really like this machine so far. The regulator's a little bit cheesy. That's the only thing that I would be wary of, but it still works fine. Just a little bit touchy as far as dialing in your gas. But other than that, machine's pretty great. Love this hood that Eastwood has too. It's really clear. It has a grind setting, so you can flick it to that whenever you're grinding, so sparks don't set off the activator for darkening or anything. So it's really nice so far. The foot pedal is really comfortable. Getting comfortable is definitely something that we're going to have to get used to because you're not going to be in comfortable situations when you're laying out pipe on something like this. So, but overall, it was pretty good. So yeah. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If this is your first time here, thanks for watching till the end. I really appreciate it. If you feel like doing it, leave a like on the video to see some more content coming up soon, because once I get my converter in, we're going to be putting it in the truck, and then we can work on the fun stuff like mounting the turbo. I'm hoping it'll be fun anyway. More fun than what we were doing, which has just been basically fabrication for the past 6-7 months. So just gets old after a while. You need to change it up. But yeah, we'll be trying out the TIG welder on that, because it's all going to be aluminum pipe. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. So if you like it, leave a like, subscribe if you hadn't already. If you have any tips for us, leave them down in the comments. I'd really appreciate it, because we're trying to learn as much as we can, especially with this TIG machine. We've never done TIG before. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Peace out.